Chapter 26. New God Atheism. All diseases of Christians are to be ascribed to demons. The man in the bar and the man in the church are looking for the same thing. They are both trying to find God. I have often stayed up late staring into my computer screen at 3 a.m. trying to find God. I have swiped my way through dating apps looking at women in the middle of the night, again hoping to find God. I have often said that online dating is staring into the mouth of hell hoping to find God. And as dark as it sounds, men in today's world, weak men, try to find God in all the wrong places, and this futile seeking in the wrong places keeps men lost and weak. Many societies throughout history collapsed the moment they lost religion. The idea of human beings as intelligent moral agents of God can prevent collapse. But all the technology and computers will not prevent collapse. No one will fight to defend 2 + 2 = 4, but millions will fight to protect God and religious faith. The answer to ideological subversion is very simple. You don't have to shoot people. You simply have to have faith and prevent subversion, not to be a victim of subversion. Strike not with force, but with the superiority of your intellect. America became the greatest nation in the world in the mid-1900s and was born a great nation in 1776 because it was founded on Judeo-Christian values. Religion is a philosophy, a system of organized living, a fundamental technology of civilization, an ancient way to pass knowledge from one generation to another, and a way to build on strong values that allowed empires to be built. Without such technology of religion, man would be living today digging in the mud, scavenging to live, and roaming the countryside as bands of cannibals. Religion is the technology and the system that keeps man from his darkest self and from the darkness of his own human nature. We have Saturdays off for the Jewish Shabbat and Sundays off for the Christian Sabbath. Thus, we have a 5-day work week with Saturday and Sunday free to rest and pursue our passions in life. So many great things in America come from Judeo-Christian philosophy, and this has led to the abundance of creativity in America. It has allowed business people the opportunity to try and fail. With bankruptcy, men can have a second chance to try again and avoid debtor's prison. This was a new idea in the new world of America versus the old world of Europe, Asia, or the Middle East. Are we created or are we evolved? This has been a hot topic in American schools. Should we teach evolution or creation? I have been full circle on the topic of creation and evolution in my life, and my beliefs have changed as I have learned more about the world and how it works. When I was a child, I was taught that God created man. This made sense to me as a child. Then I grew up, entered the high schools and the universities with the best-known science at the time, and we were taught about Darwinism and evolution, which is a religion unto itself. No one really knows if we were created or evolved. Both theories rely on faith and have limited evidence, where faith must make up the gaps in the logic. In the evolutionary theories, somehow single-celled organisms and primordial ooze evolved into fish. Then the fish walked up on land and became lizards. Then the lizards lost out to mammals, etc. The story made sense in school, and so I subscribed to the religion of science and evolution. Now I am 31 years old. I have lived life, seen people die, seen people be born, watched things come and go from the world. I have written several books, destroyed my first novel that I wrote at age 12, created art, destroyed art, loved women, lost women, led men to success, and led men to failure. In my limited life experience with all the things I've created, won, and lost, I believe in intelligent design. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. The world does not operate in a chaotic thrashing of randomness. That is a nihilistic view of the world in which there is nothing, no intelligent design, just randomness thrashing against itself. Nihilism and postmodernism is Marxist, and what has been pumped into our universities since the Cold War to subvert the Western philosophies and way of life. Nature is not random, nor is life random. There is an incredible amount of design in our world, and we have not been able to find any other intelligent life forms yet in our solar system in our brief history. The Earth is very special, and humanity is unique. We are one of a kind, but who created us? What created us? What intelligence designed us? The universe is infinitely intelligent, and the evidence of this intelligence is everywhere and nowhere all at once. This infinite intelligence is invisible, so some may claim that it does not exist, but look at the following things we use that are invisible, yet we know they exist. Radio waves, microwaves, electricity, wireless phones, Wi-Fi, sounds that are above 20,000 hertz that we cannot hear with our ears, cloud computing software stored on computers, data stored in hard drives, data stored in microchips, thought ideas. Everyone has a physician inside him or her. We just have to help it in its work. The natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. Our food should be our medicine. Our medicine should be our food. But to eat when you are sick is to feed your sickness. Instead of using medicine, rather, fast a day. When an animal, such as a dog or cat, is sick, its natural instinct is to refuse food. When the crisis is over and the internal healing work has been accomplished, the appetite will return naturally, of its own accord. The human organism also has a fasting instinct, just like that of other animals. Evolutionary adaptation has made our bodies very efficient at storing energy reserves and drawing upon them when food supplies are scarce. Fasting is as old as mankind, perhaps even older. As far back as historians can see, men have been fasting for one reason or another. It seems to be a universal practice. The ancient Greeks were great believers in fasting. Hippocrates advocated in favor of it, as is shown in the above quotation. Plato said that he fasted for greater physical and mental efficiency. Aristotle, his pupil, also fasted. Both Galen and Avicenna also prescribed fasts for their patients. I ask these questions because I am a creator and designer, and I know the energy it takes to create primitive objects like books. In fact, a book is a glorified notepad of paper and usually takes 2 years and a huge team of people to produce. It is only a pad of paper, not a self-sustaining ecosystem of life, not a life-sustaining planet, not an autonomous human being with a soul. This book was authored by an author, but who authored the world? Nothing is random in the universe. We claim randomness because we cannot see the greater patterns that are invisible to us. Humans are wired to see patterns. If we can't see a pattern, we claim randomness. But nothing is random. The patterns are just too large, too broad, too invisible, and too complex for us to see. Much like the message in this book is that hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. That is an invisible 80-year cycle. It exists, and our problems come from not understanding the invisible cycle, which is the purpose of this book. When you attempt to discover the answers to the questions about intelligent design as I listed above, you may start to study the spiritual realm and the force that binds all things, the infinite intelligence of the universe or the God, as some religions personify this intelligence. I am not telling you to believe what I believe. I am only asking you to think and find the answers to these major questions for yourself. Think deeper on the mysteries of this world that we do not have satisfactory scientific answers for, but our primitive and ever-changing university-based religion of science claims to understand. To teach children in school evolution is like claiming we know how the pyramids were built. We don't know, and we don't even have good evidence to pretend to know. Some would argue that shoving one religion down everyone's throat in school is wrong, but we do it anyway via the worst possible religion called atheism. It is of no benefit to our people. To have a 2,000-year-old technology, Judeo-Christian values, on how to live a good and productive life and then delete the software in favor of a 70-year-old non-technology, aka atheism, is not progressive but regressive. Atheism eviscerates the spiritual realm from man and by doing so, the emotional realm as well. This weakens the men and denies them of their true spiritual power, which is infinite power and creative power. At least, when Christianity was taught in American schools, the children learned the values that their country was built on and how to live a virtuous, moral, productive, and successful life. That is powerful unto itself. To fail to know the values that your tribe is built on is what will destroy your tribe in the long run. The Roman Empire had Roman values, a common religion of Stoicism in the beginning, for the Senate and the people, and they were a mighty group of strong men and women in history until they compromised their values and violated their success principles for pleasure, weakness, and emotions. I am convinced that written religion is the greatest invention of the human race. Without written religion, we could have no super tribe. We would be too busy violating one another to invent computers, the internet, artificial intelligence, spaceships, food systems, transportation, or any other invention. Written religion is the base of civilization, and without it, the human race would degrade backwards into cannibalism. If a plane crashes in the mountains, the survivors turn into cannibals in 3 days, eating the dead to stay alive. How long can you live without eating? As a man who practices fasting, I know that a human being can survive on water without food until you're 2% body fat. A healthy male is 15% body fat, and a healthy woman is roughly 24% body fat. If you are obese, you might be 65% body fat and can probably survive for a year without food. The truth is, people can live for quite a long time without food, but not long without water. What remains true is we have time to survive on our own fat and food matter stored in our organs before things get dangerous and we starve. Yet people get emotional and scared and succumb to cannibalism after 3 days. Why? Man is weak, ruled by his emotions, if he does not use his mind and use reason to survive. We are cannibals on an animalistic and physical level. The only thing keeping us from cannibalism today is the thin veil of civilization we have dangling in front of our faces and our value systems that are still loosely based on successful religions of the past. Religion is the technology to keep man from degrading into an animal, a cannibal, by harnessing the power of his mind and spirit for greater things in life. Man's mind is his basic tool of survival. Life is given to him. Survival is not. His body is given to him. Its sustenance is not. His mind is given to him. Its content is not. To remain alive, he must act. And before he can act, he must know the nature and purpose of his action. He cannot obtain his food without a knowledge of food and of the way to obtain it. He cannot dig a ditch without a knowledge of his aim and of the means to achieve it. To remain alive, he must think. But to think is an act of choice. The key to what you so recklessly call human nature, the open secret you live with, yet dread to name, is the fact that man is a being of volitional consciousness. Reason does not work automatically. Thinking is not a mechanical process. The connections of logic are not made by instinct. The function of your stomach, lungs, or heart is automatic. The function of your mind is not. In any hour and issue of your life, you are free to think or to evade that effort. But you are not free to escape from your nature, from the fact that reason is your means of survival, so that for you who are a human being, the question to be or not to be is the question to think or not to think. Man has no automatic code of survival. His particular distinction from all other living species is the necessity to act in the face of alternatives by means of volitional choice. Man must obtain his knowledge and choose his actions by a process of thinking, which nature will not force him to perform. Man has the power to act as his own destroyer, and that is the way he has acted through most of his history. The fact that man has needed 10 commandments to avoid the darkness of human nature is indeed revealing about the 10 dark things that man will do first if he becomes a feral, unthinking, emotional animal acting upon his urges and whims. Man becomes a violent barbarian, killing, raping, stealing, pillaging, and violently taking that which his unpredictable emotions dictate. At some point in history, man was ill-behaved, and the original laws of man had to be written in the form of 10 commandments to rule man and civilize the beast into a coherent group. Those commandments grew from a hard time and created strong men to enforce the commandments from keeping men from degrading into criminals, adulterers, and, worst of all, cannibals. With the removal of the technology of religion and the framework from which to live, there is a risk that man will slip back into his dark feral ways and become more like an animal than a god. So what is man's relationship with God? Man's relationship with God has become challenging, especially with the proliferation of atheism as the reigning religion in our schools and universities. The educated people in the universities have become the new gods of man with their theories, papers, publications, and science on what they believe to know based on data, studies, and facts from yesterday. I would say that the modern man, the weak man, would deny that God or a creator, an infinite intelligence, a universe governed by design and spiritual laws, or a central binding force in the universe even exists. To deny that there is a creator to this world is like denying that you have a mother and father of your own. You were created by your own mom and dad. Something created you. There is design to you as a human being. If man's relationship with God is mostly denial now, then how can we reverse the trend? The way to connect to the infinite intelligence and the divine is to clear your mind of all the noise that is civilization and just listen to the nothingness. Some people call this meditation, some call it prayer. Some people meditate to be with God, while others pray, which is scientifically proven to trigger the same brain mechanics. Prayer and meditation stimulate the brain in the same way. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. Some people pray, some people meditate. I fast. I practice fasting, which indeed connects me with infinite intelligence, removes my weaknesses, and sorts out my mind, body, soul, and emotions. To connect with divine power, you need to enter into a dreamlike state. As mentioned above, your dreamlike state may be through prayer, meditation, fasting, or several different methods, but the commonality of you connecting to the ultimate creative force in the universe is through a dreamlike state. Be still and quiet. Tune in with the infinite intelligence and continue in right thought, right feeling, and right action, and you will arrive at your goal. Remember, meditation will bring you more and more intelligence, infinite intelligence, a radiant intelligence. Meditation will make you more alive and sensitive. your life will become richer. I don't need a priest between me and God. I agree with the statement above. You can connect to God, the infinite intelligence, at any time. You don't need a priest, but I still encourage using the technology of organized religion to help you navigate the spiritual realm, to learn faster and become stronger spiritually in a faster way. You can walk down the road of the spiritual realm without any help, and it might take you your whole life to find your purpose, your calling, and the divine information waiting for you in the collective infinite intelligence. You may have that information instantly, or you can wait and struggle for your whole life. Which would you choose? You can use proven technology to take a vehicle and move faster down the road. I encourage the faster way. Only you can choose the vehicle to explore the spiritual realm. I don't recommend any one religion. I have no opinion about which religion man chooses. It doesn't matter. But man certainly needs a religion because a religion will keep him from his darkness, his cannibalistic side. The technology of religion, any religion, is better than no religion. Are some religions better than others? Probably. But still in math, 1 is infinitely greater than 0. The technology of religion is for you to explore. Throughout history, men have seen success and have connected to the same infinitely intelligent force the Christians call God in different ways. I know this world is ruled by infinite intelligence. It required infinite intelligence to create it, and it requires infinite intelligence to keep it on its course. It is mathematical in its precision. It's kind of like connecting to the internet through a Mac computer or a PC. At the end, everyone is connected and on the same internet. I use the Judeo-Christian words of God and the values here because they have built the Western world that we live in. The Western world and the Judeo-Christian technology have been proven to be successful here. In other places and in other times in history, men have used different names but the same methods to connect to the same unifying force. How does man serve the binding force that connects all things? Man can serve God, the force that binds all things by living his purpose and reaching his potential. That is your number one job in this lifetime on this planet. It might take you time to find out what that purpose is and what your potential is, or maybe you will never know. But to find your purpose and your potential, you will find it by cutting away the distractions and reaching deep inside of your essence when all else has been taken away. The things you own end up owning you. It's only after you lose everything that you're free to do anything. Live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. If there are gods but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, then you will be gone, but will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones.